Hi, my name is Pablo Requena. I am a guitar maker of Spanish guitars, classical and flamenco guitars. In the previous video that it's on my channel, you saw how I made this little jig which you use to be able to make the holes in the bridge. So in the video you saw how I made this jig, and in a previous video that I did a few years ago you saw how using a jig like this, it wasn't exactly this jig, but it was a metal one that I have made. You could see how I made the holes in the bridge when it's not glued into the guitar yet, which is definitely the right time to be doing this job because it's so much easier. So that's already all in my channel, and that's what you need to be doing. Then you can go back, look through all my videos, and you'll find them. But what we're going to touch on this video is about how to work on a guitar with the bridge on already. And what happens is that occasionally I have clients that, because of how the guitar works, it's convenient to have another set of holes in the bridge, so that you actually are doing basically transforming a conventional 6-hole bridge into a 12-hole bridge, which means that each string is got 2 holes to be attached to. Now there are different reasons why you would want to do that, and most of the time the reason to do this is because sometimes with guitars, this guitar is being built some time ago. I don't even know how old because it hasn't got a label. I don't know who's made it. But basically there's a problem here, and it's that the saddle it's already very low, and when the first string comes to be attached into the bridge, there's hardly any break angle. However, if we had 2 holes, then because of the way the strings would be attached, it means that we can actually have a little bit of a break angle, which it will make this guitar sound that much better, because you do need to have a bit of pressure down from the string into the saddle for the vibrations of the string to be able to transfer properly into the bridge and then into the soundboard as well. So if you don't have a good break angle in the bridge, then you will be losing some of the energy, and the vibrations and the energy produced by the vibration of the string will be lost, and you will lose clarity and quality in the sound. So that's why it's a good idea to have 12 holes rather than 6. So each guitar is a little different. You have to work with whatever the maker did, and usually the way that I build my bridges is that, maybe you can see here, the height of the tie block it's the same as the height of the rest of the or the block where the saddle goes. So I don't know if you can see there well enough, but that's what is there. So what it means is that when I come to use this jig, I can just put it on top and everything will be flat and it will work very well. However, this guitar is a little different. You will have to work with whatever you have in the instrument that you're working with. And again, I'm going to bring the guitar into the side to see if you can actually see what's going on here. And what's happening is that the tie block it's a little bit higher than the part of the bridge that is holding, or is got the slot for the saddle. So what will happen is that when you put your jig into here, it's not really sitting all the way along, so you have to be careful how you hold it so that it stays in the right place. Okay, so having said that, this is not necessarily what you're going to find with your guitar, but this is the case here. So far what I've done off camera before this video is that all I've done is to get a little bit of tape and I've put it in this part of the jig, so that then I can transfer the center of the holes, and I have a very clear black line so that I can see very well where the holes are. And I need that because also I have got a piece of masking tape in the guitar, and I've done the same. I have transferred the position of each one of these holes as neatly as possible into the tape so that I can actually see what I'm doing. I'm going to move this slide here. I think it will work better. And you know, having a look at this, what I can find is that actually the spacing of the holes is quite even, but this gap between the second and the third string, it's a bit bigger than the other gaps. So I'm going to have to work with whatever's in the bridge here, and what I want to do is to drill another hole next to each one of them, and I want them to be 3 millimeters away from each hole. So this jig is going to be very handy to do this, because if I wanted to do this by hand, you know, with a little bit of careful measurements and so on, I could do it. I could possibly just get a bradawl and put a pinhole in the right place and then come in with the drill to drill it. But it's a lot easier to do it with this jig, because now what we do is that if I hold the bridge in the right place here, I can line up each one of these lines with the holes in the bridge and the holes in the the lines in the jig and the lines in the guitar. So it means that the holes will be lining up and everything will be in the right place. So really all I need to do is to make another line next to each one of these ones, so that then I can follow the line that I mark to do each hole. So to do that, what I'm going to do is to get a little bit of a veneer. I'm going to bring it over there, and I'm going to mark the position of each one of these existing lines, which represent the position of each one of these holes here. So I'm just marking those, and of course I'm going to maintain this distance there. You know, that maybe it was done on purpose, maybe not, but that's what it is. So I'm just going to keep it like that. Now with the square, I'm going to extend them, and you'll see in a minute why. So I'm just going to make all these lines here using this square. And now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to position, we can check that they all line up, and they line up very well. So what I'm going to do now is to make one mark over here, and I'm going to make a mark 3 millimeters away from that one, 3.5 actually. So I'm going to put one mark there. So all I need to do now is to shift the position of my veneer so that the first line lines up with my new position. So that means that now all these lines are going to be shifted by the same amount in relation to all the other lines. So all I need to do now is to hold this in place with a little bit of masking tape. So I'm going to put this in here, like so. And this veneer is also going to give me a bit of protection with what I'm doing here, because I really don't want to be damaging the soundboard on this lovely guitar. It's already got some scratches, and you know, I can tell this guitar has been built some time ago, but I don't want to be adding on to the character of the guitar. So now I have these lines. What I'm going to do is to hold the jig in such a way that I'm probably going to have to move it, because the lines in my jig don't coincide with the lines that I've got here. So I can just by eye position them and then just shift them. For example, this one will go there, this one, these three line up really well, these four line up very well, this one doesn't. So I can do these four, and then I can shift this so that these lines line up with the other ones. But what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use this drill, and I've got a 1.5 millimeter diameter drill bit, but this is an extra long drill bit. This is 160 millimeters long. Let me just show you the package where it comes. I don't know if it will show in the image well. So you can see here it's a 1.5 by 160 millimeters, and each is a HSS drill, so it's a kind of high speed steel. And you know, you can find this online very easily, and if you don't, you can go into your local tool store and ask them to get them in for you. They're not expensive, but obviously you need to have a long drill bit, because what we're going to do is that we're going to be reaching from here into the bridge. So you can see why you need to have a long drill bit, because the drill bit needs to be parallel and quite low down, so that you can do the hole properly. If you have a short one, you just couldn't do this here. So what I'm going to do first is that I'm just going to drill a little hole. I'm not going to drill all the way, because if I drill all the way I will have problems here. So we're going to have a look at that in a moment. Right now what I'm going to do is that using this jig, I'm just going to hold it in place, bearing in mind that this is a little bit temperamental here. So I'm going to have to find a block of wood that I can put underneath, and just by eye I think this is about 3 millimeters. So I'm going to find a 3 millimeter spacer that I can put in here. No, this is too high. Let me see. Yeah, it's too much. I need something a bit thinner. For example, I've got this drawer with lots of different thicknesses, different veneers, like this one. Let's see if this one will do it. Yeah, that looks better. The idea is that when I put this veneer here, I've got everything more or less at the same height, so that then I can put this into here and it will work better. And yes, I'm happy with this, but I'm going to hold this with the masking tape. So I'm going to put this in there like that. So now I can put my jig here and this will work a lot better. Right, so I'm just going to do the first initial hole, and now you can see why I wanted these long lines, because this is going to help me to have the right angle, so that I can see my drill bit needs to follow the line that I mark here, because that way I know that I don't have the wrong angle and this will end up coming out in the wrong place. So this is just going to help me quite a bit. So now I just need to find the hole, if I am able to, and this is a little bit fiddly, but it's doable. Right, so I've done those 4. Now I'm going to shift my jig to do the last 2. There. Right, so now I have a new hole right next to each one of the other ones, and they're all the same distance from each other. So what I'm going to do now is to remove this packing block that I've had in the other side, because now I'm going to be drilling through and through. But the only problem is that if I just go and do it, when the drill bit comes out, the wood will tear out in this other side, and I will be damaging that side of the bridge. So what you need to do is to find a sacrificial strip. This is a little bit of spruce, and this is about 6 millimeters by 5. It doesn't really matter, it just needs to be something that it's long enough to go here, but you can see that the angle, this 90-degree angle doesn't fit this angle here, so you actually need to plane this little strip so that it will fit that angle, and that's what I've done here. I've already given this strip a little bit of an angle so that when I put this in here, it fits in really well. And the idea is that I have a good flat face against this face there, so that when the drill bit comes through and starts drilling into this spruce strip, it's gonna stop the wood in the bridge from splitting and getting damaged. So that's what I'm going to do now, but because I already have the hole started, it's going to be very easy to find the hole already, and all I need to do is to hold this into here carefully to make sure that this is not going to move. But also I want to have a little bit of a reference to know how deep to go, so I don't want to go too far because I could damage the other part of the bridge. So I'm going to put a little bit of masking tape in the drill bit to tell me how far I need to go. So I'm just going to put this in here. So now I can see that when I get to the tape, it's time to stop, but it's gone far enough to go all the way through. So let's do it. There you are. So you see all the holes there, and you can see that there's no damage in this side. Great, so what we're going to do now, some of the holes have touched a little bit in this side, so what I'm going to do is to put a little bit of polish in those there. Just a little bit of shellac, it's enough to sort that out. Right, so now we have a new set of holes, And what I'm going to do is I've got some strings here, and I'm just going to check. Well, I know it will work, but it's so that you can see why we've done all of this and the end result. Sometimes I keep all strings from when I replace the strings on another guitar, and they're not really good for anything apart from things like this. So basically, now I have the existing hole, or the main hole, and the way that it works is that now I have a secondary hole here which I just made, and this is how it will be tied in. And by the time we have the saddle and the here, which I don't need to look for it, I don't know what it is, but by the time we have the saddle there, we'll have a good break angle there, which before we didn't have. So you can see it's a really good result. It works really well, and it's a conversion that is very easy to do. And like I said before, you just need to kind of look at each guitar individually, analyze what you got there, so that you can get everything done as accurately as possible. And you can see it's very, very easy to do it, and very, very useful. So I hope you find this video helpful. If you have any questions, just in the comments you can ask any questions you might have. And also to remind you about courses that I do in Spain. I do courses here in my workshop where I have students from all over the world, and they come over and I teach them, and they learn how to build their own guitar that then they take home, and it's a great experience. But I also have a course that you can purchase online where you can buy a collection of videos where it will show you step by step the whole process of how to build your own Spanish guitar. So if you think that you might be interested in them, there's links also in the description of this video where you can link into those websites where you'll find those information about those courses. So this is as much as we're going to do for this video, and I hope you enjoyed it and you found it helpful, and until the next time.